Okay, I think we're live now.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Sí,
Excellent
señorita.
collection. Damn it. Empezamos mal. All right. So now we're doing the spoiler version, basically, of the review of oopsies of Shang-Chi.
And if anybody was tuning in yesterday, we did have some technical difficulties, which led to the end of the stream. So we just figured we'd start off today.
Well, we'll let it in post or something like that. We'll see how it goes. But
That
so
fucking editor.
Julio, you were off to talking about stuff. You remember most of it after all. So let's go from
I
let's
was
start
off. What?
let's go off of what you were basically talking about a
Wait a
lot. You
minute.
bring us back up to speed is what I'm saying.
Bro, we were just talking about the story.
Good job.
And why is this over here? Fucking piece of shit. Yeah. All right, sorry. My cables are all nasty. What's that look?
I'm falling in love with you.
No, you're fine. Oh, no. Calm. Uh, so we were talking about the story, how it all started up. The movie did begin with the dad. Can you remind me of his name?
The Mandarin. That's right. We're in
There
the
you
spoiler
go.
zone. Well, that's what it says in the cast, and I guess that's the adaptation that they're doing in the film versus the comics or whatever. Which I do like that he's the Mandarin and not the other actor that was it, or Iron Man 3's Mandarin, or whatever the hell it
The
was. The
actor.
idea of that, I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
But
that was kind of
oh,
lame
I
the way
hate
they
it.
did it. But it was kind of cool how they kind of teased the idea of because kind of doing a little bit of research into Shang-Chi before we started this second part. It is the Mandarin is Tony Stark's arch nemesis. So kind of cool that they played at that, but the way they went about it was kind of lame after you found out that wasn't the real Mandarin. Whatever. So again, uh, going back to Shang-Chi, you start off with the father's perspective. Again, bracelets are a complete mystery. It is said in subtitles that they think he found it in a crater or in a cave somewhere, which also kind of sucked because I wanted to know where that power came from because I was, well, prior to the podcast that we had yesterday, I was completely unfamiliar with this character. The only thing that I knew, he's probably one of the best, if not the best, hand-to-hand combatant in the Marvel universe. I don't know if that's going to reflect the same in the cinematic universe, but kind of hope so because that's just another level of power that's fucking insane. I
Yeah,
mean, we
'cause
even saw it in the movies. Holy shit.
yeah,
Holy
the rings
shit.
looked really really cool, really really cool. I was very impressed. I'm like, uh, the- they could do a lot more than you expect them to do. And it was kind of like I don't know the everything about it, like the way they can be used for combat, to fight, and all that good stuff. They seem super powerful. Super powerful. At the same time, it's pretty like balanced with the rest of the superheroes in this universe. But he's gotta be like a future major role, like top three Marvel leads
Oh, yeah.
coming from now on.
Yeah, I'm really glad that, because again, now that I'm a little more familiar, I'd probably did like a little quick 10-minute glance over his overview of his comic book history. And even without the rings, he's actually one of the most prominent fighters, again, in all the universe of the Marvel universe. That he can actually, like, sometimes even go toe to toe with gods because of how potent his fighting style is. And a lot of other characters in the comics, of course, we've yet to see this in the cinematic universe. The They're people that have seeked out training from him. You got people like the likes of the Black Panther, Captain America, and again Spider-Man. That's like one of the only other reasons I knew Shang-Chi, because him and Spider-Man developed a new fighting style, the Spider Fu, I believe it was what it's called. So that was like the only reason I knew Shang-Chi. But now that I'm kind of more familiar with him, like I'm really excited to see what they'll do with this character in the cinematic universe.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot to digest because so I guess now that we can talk about spoilers, seeing the new Mandarin is cool. That him as a villain, I liked how they portrayed him because he ends up not really being the bad guy because that he's a bad guy at heart. He's evil. Me, I'm like, I don't care about his other 1,000 years of killing people. It's what happens at the end that matters. What am I doing here? Who am I to judge his past? I guess. But I mean, I would have done the same thing. I would have tried to free up the Dementors. Yeah, I'm already gonna fuck up some stuff. I have also tried to free up those open up the cave to the Dark One and let the Soul Eaters out to go rescue my wife if I was him. I get it. So
Simping.
simps, yeah, that's what happens when you simp though. Because it turns out, spoiler alert, he dies. So
Jesus
don't simp out there, kings. Not worth it.
Yeah, that whole way the story was flipped. I mean, what we mentioned it a little bit on the last podcast, and that the story was kind of set at a pace, but it kind of was okay because it was a really fast pace. Because in the beginning, you started out again with the Mandarin, however many years ago. They think they said he's lived thousands of years, and then at one point they said that he's only been alive 1,000 years. But you gotta see his little conquest to his dynasty that he had, and then it goes to at this point we know him as Sean, which is Shang-Chi, but you'll find out in the movie why he renamed himself, and that was actually kind of funny how Katie kind of called him out on that, like, but uh, from that moment on, the movie felt like everything was thrown at you because Sean just looked like a regular person, valet driver at this point.
Oh, that was
He's
funny.
lived.
That was funny. That way they introduced him is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. But again, you got all that going on. And then later in the movie, probably like 20, 30 minutes after being introduced, I don't want to say 20, 30 minutes, probably like 10, 20 minutes after being introduced, you get like that big fight scene in the bus that you see in the trailer. And then, which was kind of weird because like Sean was just like a regular person living in LA or San Francisco. Can't remember. You see the train cards, so I'm assuming it's San Francisco. And then out of nowhere, you find out he's this incredible fighter. And it's just like, what the fuck? And then later, it comes back to why he is the way that he is.
And he's good because when he fights, he's trying to save people, protect people. He's not there to man just to hold people off. Like he's in the
Collateral damage.
he's in the yeah he's no one dies, no one gets hurt, and you see how good his fighting is and his
His
is
enemies die.
oh yeah, that's true, that's true. He's dead for sure, but like you're coming up against like five other people, and one of them has a blade for an arm. Like, oh, okay, well, props to you for not killing an innocent person on a bus that's really crowded. So that, like, when you see that comment, it really sets the tone. And then we go to the Empire. His sister has her own dynasty as well, in China. What's the sister's name again? Damn it, I'm over here like
I should be pulling that up since you're the one streaming it.
Shang-Chi, Ten Rings. His sister's name is because you see Wong and Abomination fighting there, which is awesome. I was like, that thing looks familiar. Can't beat the thing from the Hulk. It is. It's the Abomination. Shai-Ling. Shai-Ling is the sister, which is like, well, you guys, because you in the flashbacks to Sean's
Yeah,
life
Shiling.
with his dad and being trained, you never see the sister, but she's also there, and you're like, it's her. She's a whole mystery to me. Absolute mystery. We don't know her morals, her personality, what conflict because Shang Shang-Chi abandoned her basically. He ran away at the age of 16, leaving her when she was like 12 or 10. So that kind of like that really sets a tone to like, oh, you've left someone with a tyrant of a father, and I mean a lot of just the trauma on a child, and then she also wants to grow, and she never got trained, so she trained herself, like you mentioned before, and now you're wondering like, because to me, I don't know if Shailene is a good person or a bad person. Is she a hero or an enemy? For all I know in this movie, that she was just helping out Shang-Chi because they had a common enemy. That was a dad.
And to me in the movie, the part that kind of hit hard was when he got to his sister out in Hong Kong at her little fighting ring that she had established, and she kind of left him for dead with Katie. And then later she came back to save him, and he's like, "Why would that?" He essentially called her out like, "Hey, you left us for dead," and then she said that like, "Hey, you did too."
Yeah.
Damn. Like,
I was like,
oh
ooh,
fuck. But that was a pretty powerful moment in the movie for me. But that's kind of like the mystery of her character. You don't know where she can lead. It can go either way. Like in the beginning, it kind of seemed like she was gonna be kind of bad because she was really upset at her brother for fucking leaving her. And then how the movie finishes, it's just like, what the hell? Like, dude, she can go like anyway. She feels like another Loki to me.
yeah.
Like you can't tell.
So the one thing I didn't like about the movie is you're right about pacing, but they do that whole thing that most movies do, like, hey, 3 days or 2 days of training, and you're good at it because he learns a
Uh,
new fighting style. I know he's very proficient in hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that, but to learn almost a new power, and this power is the only power that's ever beaten his father before the Mandarin. He's never lost anybody except for Mandarin lost to his wife and Shang-Chi, I guess in this case. So for him to learn that ability, I can give it a pass. I can honestly give it a pass because the movie was really good, and if we're judging this hero by his abilities, he should be able to learn it pretty well, like that. But again, I don't like that movies do this where like, oh, in a week you'll be good out of nowhere. Give him some time. Just give him a month.
oh
Give him a
yeah.
month. Just give him a month. Give him a.
Katie being a fucking millennial and now she knows how to shoot bows.
I know.
What?
That I was like, all right. So can we talk about that? Can we talk about that bow scene?
Maybe once we get to that point of this story,
Okay,
because
go.
right now we're only at
I'm bubbling around everywhere.
no, yeah, we both have been, but I think at this point we're already back to when he reunited with the sister, and so at this point, after they're in their little her little place in
Reunion.
Hong Kong, they're both captured ultimately, and they're like reunited as a family back in the I forgot where they stay or what the name of the compound is where the Mandarin actually has his 10 ring army or his 10 ring compound, and he actually has like a bunch of training and shit going on. Uh, they actually meet there. Oh, and something we failed to mention in the beginning in the first podcast too was uh the the mom. What's her name already? I can pull it up right here.
Miss Wu.
Leiko. Leiko. She gave Shang and her sister a little necklace that had like a little emerald on it. And in the movie, when they get first attacked out in San Francisco in the bus scene, it's ripped off his neck. It isn't really alluded to what that really means, like what value it holds. He just knows that it was the only thing he had left of his mom, so it was really important to him in that aspect. For what it was later on that we find what it's actually used for, I mean, we had no idea. At this moment in time, we only knew that it was the last thing his mom gave him. And then when Shang-Chi met his sister up in Hong Kong to let her know that her father's coming for them because she apparently sent him a letter out in San Francisco of like a dragon symbol and an address in Hong Kong, so he would only assume it was her. she kind of told him like, "I never sent you anything," and then that's when the compound got raided. So you can tell the father set it up the entire time.
Yeah.
And at the end of that fight, or that whole thing that happened there, her necklace was also ripped off her neck and stolen. And when the families reunited at the compound, the Ten Rings compound, you see their purpose because both of them are kind of like shaped in like in the way of like an eye kind of way. And there was a dragon statue in the compound that he placed each of the necklaces
They're
over the
like
dragon's eyes,
yeah,
and it kind of sorry,
they're like gems that
yeah.
fit an eye
So that's why,
socket.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like an emerald kind of thing. And when once he did that, it kind of opened up a map of. It was weird. I'm just gonna call it a map. I'm not gonna really go into what it was, but a map leading into where the mom's from, Tao, because again, access to that place was once a year using that map, or if you knew somebody how to kind of get you into a side entrance, which is accessible, I guess, at any time you wanted to. But both routes again are heavily dangerous to get into.
Because this it's a magical forest, and the forest keeps moving, and if you get caught in if you're not in the pocket of space where you can go through it, you're essentially lost in the forest, dead. So, which is I like that a lot. And like I mentioned this before. I don't know if it's in the first part, but I'll reiterate it here in the second part. I was really worried that the movie trailers were gonna make the world like a Hollow Earth, like you said. And I'm like, no, but it's another dimension, and I love that so much that they kind of expand it. And that when they go to that dimension, I'm like, okay, this is actually a Marvel universe. This is not like a oh, the Earth is fucking flat and endless. There's no end to it. It's not like a Minecraft world. No, there's another.
It's more- yeah. So, um, in that compound, after they find the map, it is decided that they were going to. Well, the father had decided that he was going to go to Tao because he had been experiencing these. What do you call? I don't want to like these voices have been calling out to him, and the voice was had the. I guess it sounded like his wife, and it was telling him to save him. That she was trapped somewhere in Taolao, and because she left with him, that they were kind of like punishing her, tormenting her, and that she was asking for him to save her. So of course, a man of 1,000 years became a little bit ignorant and decided to put all that behind and just go full scent mode and actually just try to burn down a village
Yeah.
that to save her because as far as he knew, those voices in his head were true. Later on, you find out exactly what those are, but at this point, that's all we know. We haven't seen it on screen yet. The voices call out to him. That's all he mentioned of it. That he's been hearing her voice, and it's been begging him to save her.
And at one point, I'm like, oh, like this is pretty cool. Like, oh, maybe he's not wrong. Like to me, he started looking more didn't look like as much of a bad guy. Like he
Yeah,
didn't.
same here.
But I mean, he did send out the son to because we kind of before we go, let's stick in that compound zone, like the conflict basically that happened. Shang-Chi, he trains to murder the person that killed his mom. And that you tell the kind of character and dilemma he has too there, because he lies about it, but he actually did kill the person that murdered his mom. We don't know who that is. That leaves it open to any type of interpretation for future movies. It could come back to haunt him, or it can just be just his story,
Yeah.
his arc, because he said that he didn't kill the mom and he ran away because he couldn't face his dad. Not kill the mom, the murderer, but he actually did kill the murderer and then go back because he was ashamed of who he was. And there's another part in the scene when they're in China, uh, uh, Chai Ling's empire, her little underground fighting area, where he's gonna kill one of the people that was abusing him while he was training, that that hit him as a kid when he wasn't training at his fullest potential, and he was gonna kill him, but his dad, the Mandarin, stops him from murdering somebody else because
Oh yeah,
he
the
was just
guy
gonna.
with the mask.
Yeah, the guy with the mask just straight up was gonna kill him. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't like because he has like a flashback, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna do that one thing where they don't kill him. No, he goes for the kill, and even then, um, because of course they eventually get to the village in this other universe, and he he realizes that to stop his dad, he's going to kill his dad, and that's powerful for me too. Like wow, like ooh, and you're telling Aquafina, Katie, that like you lied about it. Like you did murder the murder of your mom, and you're gonna murder your dad because you have to stop him. And then he's telling someone that he clearly cares about that who he is. He's not. He's just being who he is, which is I like that a lot. I like that kind of character arc there, development they did there.
Oh yeah, this is a character that is willing to do what he has to do. This is I don't think we've I mean, we've kind of seen that, but I mean, most prominent characters in the Marvel universe, you got like fucking Captain America who's like super against that. And then you got a character now who's probably gonna be like at the level of Captain America in these next phases, and he's completely willing to do it. So it's kind of like another aspect of it, which is actually kind of nice. You get to see a whole nother moral dilemma. So just thrown out the window.
And the movie doesn't. And the commercials do. I don't think the commercials do justice to the movie, the trailers, but because it shows so much, you want worry a little bit that they might throw too much. Uh, but so conflict. Dad's trying to save the mom that she's hearing that's stuck inside this that's been imprisoned apparently, and then they've got the village that's trying to keep whatever's out from escaping in this prison because it's actually evil and it sends out voices to people who've had the Ten Rings before, which leads to another question: who else has had the Ten Rings? Like that's and I don't know. It's pretty wild to me that, and then what the Ten Rings do to make you live so long. It's just it had so many questions. This movie adds gives me so many questions to what can happen, and it opens up the world big time. It feels like a Phase 4 movie.
Hmm.
It really does.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, again, prior to this second meeting, I kind of did some research into what the rings were through the comics, and I'm kind of excited because it alludes to another character in the Marvel universe. And I don't know if they're gonna do that here, but I mean, I kind of told you about it. It's kind of a funny name too, but
Oh, okay,
hey,
yeah.
man,
Well,
that's just fucking beyond cool to me.
so before I would like you to mention him, but I think we can talk about the main villain, the real bad guy in the movie.
The Mandarin,
No, 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 the real one. The Mandarin was a hero to me. He died a hero.
Shang-Chi.
No, you fool. The Dementors.
Oh my god, the Dementors.
Oh, you think we're at
I
that
don't
part
even know
now?
what they're called.
Um,
Well, I mean, we still got to one last thing I wanted to mention before we, I guess, go into Tao Lao
mhm,
and go into the kind of part where it's kind of like just all thrown at you too. Uh, so apparently his father, Shang-Chi's father, allowed them to live separate lives because at this point, when Shang-Chi ran away, his sister ran away probably 4 years later after him.
mhm.
And he allowed them both to live, I believe, about 10 years, like a normal life. And then he like kept tabs on them. He always knew where they were. That's why he sent out the letter to Shang-Chi and well, captured them both at one point. But he allowed them to live 10 years of their life normally, and then he's going to suck them back into the life that they had at the beginning. So
Because
that
he's
was
so close to finally achieving this goal to free his mother, their mothers.
well, in the beginning it was he wanted to reach the village because apparently there's a untapped power source there that he
Mhm,
wanted,
mhm.
and then he met the mother, and then now his thing changed to instead of getting the power source, because I don't think they ever mention it again, is to save the mother, which is these voices that he's been hearing. And once they find out that he's wants to go back into Tala to save the mom, and that he's willing to destroy the village if he has to in order to save her, because they're kind of assuming that they don't want him there. Um, when his mother and him met, they kind of like, I guess they pretty much hated his character because they knew who he was. It was a warlord of 1,000 years, essentially another Genghis Khan.
Mm,
So they hated him.
he's okay in my book.
So he knew, knowing that him going to that village, he wasn't gonna have like a warm welcoming. He was probably, gonna start something up. So he was willing to go through with all of that. He'd destroy the village, burn it down. I think it was his words too, to save the mom, because in the voices he was hearing, she was behind the gate or something. They had her behind the gate. That's all you get of it. So Shang-Chi and his sister, knowing this, kind of wanted to prevent that. They didn't want him to go into Taola, burn it down to save his mom because I mean, even them kind of agree, like, mom's gone, mom's dead, like, you need to let her go. But him and his, I guess, push, his conquest, like, he needed to save her because that's all he knew at this point. And knowing that his children were going to stop him, he kind of like locked them away in his compound. And that's when we run into the fake Mandarin.
Oh yeah, Fake Mandarin was great.
Ben Kingsley's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And when that little creature comes out of nowhere, he's like, "You
Yeah.
guys can see him." Oh, I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" That shit was hilarious. Uh,
So the creature that Kevin's talking about, I don't remember what its name was or what the oh shit. I don't know if you can hear that. The army of dogs.
no, we're good.
Okay. So it is a mythical creature. It has no face. It's just a ball of fur with wings. And Ben Kingsley's character, the fake Mandarin, thought he was always hallucinating it because he had, I guess, been in that cell for a while. And uh, when the Shang-Chi and his sister were thrown in, they saw it too. Uh, that's when he kind of figured, like, oh, so this thing's real because, as you mentioned, he's like, oh, you could see it too. So one thing you find out is that the Mandarin had probably made multiple attempts into getting into Tao Lao, and in one of his attempts, he actually found this creature, and he also brought it back to his compound, which is why it's there in the compound. And Ben Kingsley's character, the Mandarin, somehow has a way to communicate with it, or because it kind of makes these noises. You
Oh yeah.
just like nowhere near close to any kind of
No,
yeah, like
uninterpretable.
yeah,
It would make like, and they would be like, "Oh, what? Timmy's in the well. We need to go save him." Like it'd
yeah,
be like that.
exactly.
He'd barely mumble. Oh shit. Okay.
So for whatever reason, the fake Mandarin just was able to translate exactly what the thing was saying, and that thing managed to tell them that he knew the way. Well, another way to get into Tala that doesn't require that entrance that only opens up once a year. Like there's a way to get in, like through the side or something,
The
but
pockets.
yeah, a pocket. And so they escape and they steal one of the vehicles. It's funny how they just made it to be the guy without the fucking hand that they stole his car. I don't know
Yeah,
why that was funny to me.
that was
Like
fucking
why they
funny.
like why they have to be so fucking specific about it, but whatever. But so once they escape the compound and that guy's car is all four of them, and they're starting to drive through the same forest you see in the beginning of the movie. Well, when you see the Mandarin meet his mom, because after the whole reign of terror, you kind of see a little bit more modernized. Like it's more modern. It's like probably in the 90s, I believe, when he actually first attempts it, and you actually see the forest for the first time. So when they escape, you see the forest again, and it's doing the exact same thing that it happened to his father, but this time they actually have someone to navigate it, and at the end of it all, they actually get through to Talau, and you actually see them pull up and you see all these mythical creatures, and this is kind of where I thought Kevin was gonna have like a fucking erection about it because he's kind of into that kind of stuff.
I'm not a fucking furry. What the fuck? What?
You're
What
into
the hell?
dinosaurs and shit.
That's not a dinosaur. Those are
Yeah,
furries.
you saw that horse that looked like a dragon.
That look like a horse. They're like
It
a
looked like a
donkey.
it looked like a fucking dragon.
All
Had like a
right,
dragon
man.
face.
All right. There's a difference between real and a fantasy. Gina was telling me on this side, she's like, watch that little thing turn to something bigger, because it's like this big, like this big, and then we see a whole family of them. And she's like, oh, okay, never mind. It's not gonna be any cool. It's just a fucking, just a derp. It's just a fucking meme. It was hilarious. And fake Mandarin over here. One of the scenes I loved it a lot. I loved it. Like the little ball of fuzz goes up to the fake Mandarin because he's lying there on the ground in the battlefield, dead. And he's like, I'm not dead. I'm playing dead. I'm acting. I thought that scene was hilarious. The movie does good with humor. It really does. Sometimes it tries too hard, and sometimes, but most the humor was like a 7 out of 10 for me. It was good. It was good. I like how they humanized the guy with the blade. That made it known that he's not really a bad guy. He's just doing what he's supposed to do because he's
Yeah,
just a
we're all out here
warrior.
trying to collect the check.
Yeah, yeah, basically. So I thought that was really cool how they humanized a lot of the people there, the bad guys. So you can see when they do that, it gives you a sense like, oh, maybe this character will be in other movies, or he'll just be an extra, and like they'll keep one constant. Because you see that with Thor a lot. You see a lot of characters being humanized a little bit, and in Guardians of the Galaxy, when you have a lot of characters, there are certain characters that have they're humanized because they'll be consistent in most movies, or they'll be like extras, so they'll be good for comic relief, or maybe they'll have a bigger role. With the comic ones, I haven't really seen many of them get bigger roles than that, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, it just gives that open opportunity for people to kind of which I like, just to bring more characters or more actors into light. Because I like that this movie being new brings a lot of because it's got that Asian flair, and it's been a while since I've seen a martial arts esque movie with that like that. So this brings a lot of actors into the on the table, just like how Black Panther did, and it brought amazing actors. I love them. I loved it. So I like that a lot with this movie. That it's bringing a whole new crew of it's new faces. It's gonna feel fresher with seeing all these new faces, and then you don't have the same Bobby Millies in the world, and just this person's in like 10 movies, and it's like, okay, can we get new actors now, or something like that? I want to see the Dwayne the Rock Johnson in like 10 more movies.
Everything.
Yes. Ah.
Oh
Like,
god.
come on, man. We need more people out here.
No, yeah, I really like that too. And I mean, we've seen characters again like Thor. You got Kat Dennings' character. She shows up again in WandaVision. You got Jimmy Choo from Ant-Man and the Wasp in the WandaVision too. Like, there's just more potential for more stories from these side characters, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So who knows how they'll interact with other characters too from the universe? Because I mean, you've had that small interaction from characters from two different I guess Avengers. So that was I don't know. I'm kind of excited for that kind of thing too, because this movie kind of has a few of those characters built up.
I wish we did get to see the Ten Rings in action a little more. I understand their power, but it makes me want to see more. And I love how, even though he learned the abilities to fight like his mom, I love that he was able to control Ten Rings like that. Like that was cool because I mean they're at the village now. Things are going on. He needs to stop his dad, and he's fighting his dad. And the fight scenes are just amazing. I give the fighting here, I think, a 10 out of 10. Honestly, I couldn't
Dude,
see like do
yeah,
I couldn't don't do it. It was just amazing, amazing, and I kind of want to watch it again just because of that. Like I'm like, hey dad, let's go to movies.
dude, yeah. The
Shit.
fight scenes are fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Some
Ah.
of like the best I've ever seen,
Yeah.
like in any movie. This is even like than the likes of like the old school Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee movies to me because I grew up
Exactly.
with those.
Oh, I love that.
Like this just has that hint of that, but it also has a hint of like I don't know if you've ever seen it, but some maybe I don't know if anybody is watching, but has watched some of like the Raid movies. It has the pace of like the Raid movies, but the fighting style of like a Jackie Chan or a Bruce Lee movie, where it's very methodical but also very fast paced. Because if you see it in the Raid movies, when the main character's fighting, I forget his name. Hector always tells me his name, but I always forget it. When something in the fight's not happening, they always want some kind of movement. So you always see his hands do this, even though he's not fighting. But there's always something happening and it's always super fast. And that's what I loved about it. It's like a mix of both. You have the clean methodicalness of like again a Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and then that fast and harshness of like a movie style fight, which
Yeah.
is fucking incredible. I was like, holy shit.
They really needed a character like this because a lot of like the universe really didn't have any. Like they had Black Widow, but her martial arts wasn't like she didn't have martial arts. She had a different style of fighting. Who else is really hand-to-hand combat heavy? I don't think there
Captain
really is.
America.
Yeah, oh yeah, but Captain America was
He's more of a boxer.
yeah, boxer. He just keeps fighting. He has his shield. He's pretty but Shang-Chi was pretty OP, not OP, but you can tell that like he's S tier level when it comes to fighting.
And again, in the comics, all those other characters in the universe look to him to train because of how really good he is. And in the movie, you get to see that. It's just incredible how well these fights. I don't know. To me personally, it looked like these fight scenes were done really well.
Yeah.
And I grew up on Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee movies. My
Oh.
dad fucking loved those, and we were Drunken Master. I don't know how many times I've watched that.
I really want to watch some more. This brought my love back for that because there haven't been many movies like this in a long time, which is a
Dude,
shame. It's just an honest shame, or not that I've noticed. So I'm gonna be looking a little bit out for that some more. But
I
I'm
feel like if
looking.
this movie was made in the 90s, I feel like Jackie Chan perfectly could have pulled this off,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks
Oh.
because the time the
Oh.
time just doesn't fit right. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Maybe he comes in is in a future film as a cameo or something like that. Because I know he does. He likes to do his own stunts. I don't think he uses. Uh. Maybe now he does, but stunt
Yeah, no,
doubles.
he's way too fucked up now.
Yeah.
That man is like, ah,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, if you read a list of his injuries, like he should have died.
Like that's insane. So, or
I
they.
mean,
I
even the
hope.
same guys from like that filmed the Raid movies, both his filming company and Jackie Chan's filming company are actually blacklisted from insurance companies. So any injury that happens comes out of their own pocket.
Ouch.
And all the things that they're willing to do is just fucking insane. I don't know if you again if you ever seen like a Raid movie, which I'd recommend. Dude, holy shit, their s- film style and everything is just fucking incredible. Their fighting is incredible. Like, and again, that's why I fucking love this movie. The fighting was insane. Holy shit. I cannot stop talking about the fighting. Just again, because in the beginning of the movie, you meet Sean. You don't meet Shang-Chi, you meet Sean. And then you get thrown into the world of Shang-Chi in like a split of a second in that bus scene. Because he just looks like a regular millennial. And then out of nowhere, he like kicks everybody's ass in like the most fucking awesome way ever. You're just like, what the fuck? That like blindsided the fuck out of me. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty great. You ready to talk about the big bad guy now?
I'll let you do that. Because I thought the bad guy was the Mandarin.
The Mandarin was a saint to me. Same as Jesus himself, if you ask me. No, but um, I don't know what the hell this thing is called. The Death Eaters, the Dementors. What
Yeah, I think you were kind of head on with the Soul Eaters, right?
Soul Eaters? Yeah. Is there a name for it? The Dweller in Darkness. Uh, okay, no, I think that's actually a. I don't know, but there's this. Damn it! I should have looked this up before even bringing it up, but here I am.
The Dwellers.
The Dwellers, right? It's like
And it just says the dwellers and the minions. That's it. Yeah. The big one is called Dweller.
so they're like it's like a Cthulhu demon dragon basically. When you first see him, um, the village is like you can't kill him with your normal weapons, and obviously the guys attacking the village like we can take care of it ourselves. And she's like, no, let's fight ourselves. And you see one of their
The
best
guy with the hand.
the yeah the guy with the hand, but the guy with the mask, the guy who should be really really
Oh
really
yeah.
who
Him
should be one of
too.
their best warriors in the army of the Mandarin, um, tries to kill one of these things, but he slices it and cuts it open, and it regenerates instantly. And to me, when I saw that, that freaked me the fuck out. I was like, I really wanted to say, holy shit, in the theater. I wanted to yell that out so bad. I was like, what the fuck is that? I was flipping out like I was in the movie. It was cool because this is a new enemy that we've never seen before. Never, 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 never. When we see that kind of regenerate instantly, and it just it's like a barrier in my mind just broke, and it's like anything is possible now. Because I see it try to get sliced over, regenerates, and then it just sucks its soul, takes his soul into a cave where the
The Dweller.
the big dweller's at, the bad guy, the big
So the
monster.
Dweller is the big one. The minions
Mhm.
are just minions. But we can call them soul eaters, I guess. So they would retrieve the souls and then return it to the Dweller who was still behind that gate, supposedly where his wife was being held.
Yeah.
So this is kind of also where you find out because once they get to the village, the first person they meet is an old guy who kind of sends them tells them to leave immediately because he didn't want them there. But then you see this lady come out who tells them like, "Hey, they're okay, that they can stay." And that's when you find out this is the mom's sister, so their aunt.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but she's the one that also teaches Shang-Chi the new fighting style that supposedly beat the Mandarin, which you do see in the beginning when the Mandarin and his wife, well, at that point, I forgot her name, Liu, Liu,
Liko
when they
Wu.
first meet,
Liko
Liu.
Wu. And Jiang Nan is the aunt. Miss Nan. Nan.
Nah,
We're gonna butcher these names. Uh,
sorry, it's a little difficult all these names,
yeah.
but so in the beginning of the movie, again, when the Mandarin finds the entrance to Tao Lao, but he doesn't enter because he meets the mom, and he's more paying attention to that than the entrance. They actually have like a little fight, but it's kind of like a romantic written fight in a way. It's like they're kind of throwing blows, but kind of also pulling them, and then they'd kind of just look at each other and kind of give each other like a little smile, kind of.
They're dueling, they're sparring, they're courting each other, basically.
Yeah,
Like insects do when they're like grasshoppers trying to mate. And it was kinda
yeah.
hot.
Okay. So, at the end of that, I guess, God damn it. At when that scene is finished, it kind of results in the mom winning, even though the father actually kind of tried with the rings, but she was able to kind of like get past it because at this point she still had the power of the village behind her. And at at the when Shang-Chi arrives at the village and is kind of brought in by the aunt, he asks her for training of the fighting style that his mom used to beat him because apparently in all the history of the Mandarin's life, the only time he ever lost was that one specific fight was with his mom. So he again asked her to teach her that fighting style in order to beat his dad because him and his dad have kind of already fought and it did not go too well. That just the power of the rings overwhelmed them
I mean,
and
and they fight again, and they
he almost still loses.
he's yeah he would have died essentially.
But then he is a so him and his dad fight again, and this is in order to stop him to get to the gate because the gate was like across a bed of water. Uh, and the fight kind of leads to the Mandarin winning because he
He
fucking rocked the fucking
yeah
Shang-Chi shit. He fucking knocked him into the water. It kind of looked like he died at this point because it
yeah.
was like a really big blow. And while he was in the water, you hear the stories of like when they were attacked by the dweller and all that and how he was kind of put away and they needed the help of what was called the Great Protector, which is like this big dragon, which you only see like stone pictures of. And I'm assuming it's also the Great Protector is also that dragon those emeralds were of that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
put into that sockets, that dragon statue. I'm assuming that was also like an image of the Great Protector. But while Shang-Chi's in the water, kind of dying at this point, he's revived by the Great Protector. Oh, so it kind of looks like, because it looks like he's kind of running out of air, and then you see all this water come, you see a fucking dragon, and that should freak me the fuck out because I hate that kind of thing.
For reals? You hate
Yeah,
what?
like
The dragons?
I hate big reptiles in a way. I'm like fucking scarred because we went to the Universal Studios, the Jurassic Park ride, and I don't know if you've ever been on it. It's kind
Oh,
of like a water
oh,
ride.
I've been on it.
So you know how like when you're climbing up and then you see that T-Rex come through the roof?
Yeah.
That fucking scarred me for life. I fucking hate that idea of big reptiles. I fucking
Uh,
hate it. So when I saw that dragon coming out of the water, like I was like uncomfortable in my chair. Like I fucking hate that kind of shit. Even when I play like Ark, it makes me uncomfortable.
I
Like seeing
I
those
kind of want to
dinosaurs.
play Park Ark again with you now. For that reason, I'm gonna re-download it one more time.
That's why I have the Giga, because it's like trying to tame my fear of seeing those big ass reptiles. But coming back to the Shang-Chi, so he's survived by the Great Protector, which is a dragon, I guess, that hides in that bed of water or rests in the bed of water. And he comes back up, and him and his dad have another fight. And at this point, the dad had already broken enough of the wall that the minions were coming out, and they were starting to steal souls from the army because the being that the father had got there, the army and the villagers were actually fighting. Soul minions were coming and stealing souls while that fight was happening to power up the dweller, and yeah, it was just a whole big bleh, like a bunch of big shit just happening at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the fight has like multiple things going on. It's a fight on multiple fronts. You
Hmm.
have the fight between Shang-Chi and the Mandarin. You have the fight of like the Mandarin and the fucking gate, and then you have the fight between the Mandarin's army and the villagers. And it kind of like bounces between all three.
Which
So it's
is
not.
it was. I wish the fight was a little longer so we can focus more on the final boss, the reptile versus Cthulhu fight, because I thought that was pretty cool.
And how Kevin had mentioned earlier that the soul eaters, the minions or whatever, regular weapons didn't work on them. And one thing we didn't mention is you see the suit from that we have in the picture of Shang-Chi. The suit that he's wearing is made of a special material. It's of dragon scales, and that's what is actually able to what well to kill those minions because they regenerate with regular weapons. They were told to use dragon scales, and you see a bunch of like the army of the villagers just equipped with a bunch of dragon scaled weapons, and their weapons are working. So that's when the army of the Ten Rings were like, okay, we'll work together because all our shit's fucking useless. So yeah, give us some of your stuff, and they actually started working together to fight the minions because the minions were like shredding everybody, just ripping souls out. As Kevin mentioned,
Yeah, which was
one of the best fighters.
awesome.
Yeah, one of the best fighters of the Ten Army, or the Ten Ring Army, just mauled and getting his fucking soul ripped out. So they're like, yeah, fuck, let's just use your weapons because everything we got is useless right now. So it became one big faction against the Soul Eaters and the Dweller, which led to the final battle, which Kevin had mentioned, was the big true evil, the Dweller.
Yeah, the real evil. The Dweller looked sick. It looked amazing. I love the way they portrayed this thing. They put some real money into that. That was good. That was great graphics, great visuals. Just to visualize something like that, because I was like, this looks like something off of like a fantasy movie. Like I mean, this is fantasy, but still, like, what is this, Magic the Gathering? What is this? One of the fucking Lord of the Rings monsters. I mean, it was insane. It was insane. But I wish I would have seen more of the Ten Rings. The dad used it for good, but you want to tell him the bad news? How the good guy dies?
You can do it. You can talk about your Lord and Savior, the
Uh,
Mandarin.
the Mandarin, so brave, trying to rescue his wife, who was deceived by this evil dweller in the darkness, darkness in the dweller in the darkness. And
What?
then he helps save his son, but he really gets caught right out the bat. Like just is to die. He's gonna die, and he gives a ring to his to Shang-Chi, his son, which was also very that that was a little moving. And then he gets his soul sucked out, and then his body's just left there to die, to rot. It was I was like, holy shit. This because you can also see that ten rings are powerful, but you're still a human underneath it. Sort of. I don't know what the hell you are at that rate, because your mom's from this village from a different dimension, and your dad's got the 10 rings. I don't know what you. I don't know if you're part human and part whatever, but that's something I'm very curious to learn about. There's more to that, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, he's part alien and part human, but
Guess
that
we'll have to see.
yeah, we'll definitely hopefully we'll see what's going on there. And you see how this monster is fighting the Great Protector, and it's winning, but then it gets fed souls, and it just turns around, and it looks amazing. And at one point, because this is the point where the arrow starts to come in, um,
Yeah,
the Great Protector starts getting its soul sucked, and it can't do anything about it.
like
And
Glock Glock.
yeah, it's just and Shang-Chi
The
has
holy
the
smoly.
yeah. Shang-Chi has the choice to let go of his sister to essentially die, or um, save the Great Protector. And he's like, I abandoned you before. I'm not gonna do it again. And he stays with her and doesn't let go of her. So he lets the Great Protector die until Marvel had to do it. The arrow. This girl that barely knows how to shoot an arrow hits the Joel in the darkness right in the throat, which allows the souls to, I guess, get damaged. They sucked already. He loses power, and the Great Protector's freed, saved. That scene I did not like. I'll be honest with you, I did not like it. Uh, um, uh, I that's why I said they should have given her more time to be more important in the movie. They rushed her training. I did not like it, but they put themselves in a writer's. They put themselves in the corner with that writing. Like, okay, maybe the sister should have been killed, and then instead of uh instead of what I would have done if I could rewrite it is instead of the sister, maybe Shang-Chi doesn't let go of it, but she gets ripped off by many ways, and then Katie Aquafina saves the sister with an arrow instead, and Shang-Chi can go ahead and just attack with his rings. That would have been way better, way better. But
Yeah,
instead they used the arrow. I'm like, oh, come on, man. This is a supporting
yeah.
character.
It felt kind of cheap.
Yeah. I was like, no.
So you got like this big of a Cthulhu looking like motherfucker called the Dweller, and apparently its only vulnerable spot is its neck, and one tiny little arrow boy hit it and killed it, or really hurt it to let go of the protector, and then Shang-Chi went in for the final blow, which kind of blows in its own sense.
Yeah, like it was super cheap. That's why like I would have given this movie a really good score. A better I mean, I gave it a good score already. But it would have been way better if that didn't happen, because that's just like put yourself in the hole there. But doesn't ruin the movie at all for me. Still good. The fighting scene was a little, if the dragon scene versus the Cthulhu scene was good. I liked seeing the power of the Great Protector, all stuff he did. Um, I like seeing the rings there, because the way you said it, like that's what turned the fight
into from losing it to winning it and ultimately defeating that monster. And they also shut down the cave. Shut down. They closed the cave back up where they're escaping
Yeah,
from. So we have no idea if there's anything else in there, or if they could be
probably just a shit ton of
reborn.
minions.
So the minions get more strength as more souls they eat. So I think it's like a hive mentality. Like, and here I am just speculating and theorizing at this point. Or like, the strongest one of us dies. Let's just feed the next strongest one to be that powerful with souls.
Ooh,
So because that's all
oh
they do.
shit,
They souls. They're like they be popping people and picking up their loot.
Jesus Christ.
So but seeing that, like, I love it because it just opens up so much in the world, and it made me realize, like, man, got a lot to look forward to. Anything else you wanted to add, Julio? On anything
Mm,
that I've skimmed over or talked about?
I'm trying to think about it. I mean, we could talk about, I guess, the end credit scenes, right?
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for those. They're pretty
But
cool.
okay,
So you go
okay.
ahead. You
So before we move on to that, I guess if we wanted to wrap it up, the movie ends with them returning back to San Francisco, and they are met again by Wong. Wong opens a portal up to a bar they're at, and pulls them through. Both Shang-Chi and Katie, and he pretty much sets them up for being a part of, I guess, I don't know if the Avengers or but just like the next group to protect Earth, since at this point Earth lost a lot of its defenders. You lost Tony Stark to Endgame, you lost Captain America at Endgame, and so they need people to replace that, to replenish the numbers. And Wong pretty much tells Shang-Chi that like your life will never be the same from this point, and that you just need to be ready for whatever happens next. And I fucking love that. I love that Wong gave that. I don't know. There's something about Wong's character that's just like
yeah,
amazing to me.
Wong, another supporting character, becoming. He used to be like a C tier support character, then B. Now he's becoming like, okay, he's gonna be up there. He's gonna be up there. He's not a comic relief character. He he has his own life. He does his own thing, and he's in the universe doing his, like, just being who he is. Just a good sidekick, really. But also his own independent fighter, which I love a lot. Because when you see him fight with
I mean, he,
Abomination, that's cool.
yeah, what the fuck? He went toe to toe with the Abomination. So the thing with the Abomination is that right off the bat, and I don't if you've, I mean, we probably all watched that Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton in it,
Yeah.
which is I prefer Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo any day. Uh, the Abomination is twice as powerful as the Hulk off the rip. Like if Banner turns into Hulk, the Abomination is already twice as powerful. The only thing that's different between the Abomination and the Hulk, Hulk's power can exponentially, infinitely scale. That's why he can become like the World Breaker Hulk. But the Abomination can't do that. He's twice as powerful as the Hulk, and he stays there. That's why the Hulk can eventually overcome him, but it takes him a minute to beat him. And that's why it was like kind of cool to see that like someone as strong as the Abomination going toe to toe with fucking Wong and getting his ass kicked is like what the
And they were buddies too. And I was
yeah
like, what? It's like I thought, like, because they go through a portal at the end of the fight. I'm like, oh, he's gonna
yeah
go kill him. He's gonna go fight him. Oh, they were just cool. I was like,
chilling in
whoa.
the locker room.
Yeah, like, I was like, what the fuck? This is amazing. And that's the stuff you kind of want to see. Like, just random fucking characters, random in the
Yeah, that
universe. Just,
interaction, the
yes,
side characters,
yes.
yes,
I was
that
fucking
was
great.
awesome, dude. I saw like in not the credits. Oh, maybe in the credits too, but I didn't pay attention then. Paid attention a little bit now. They gave Tim Roth credits for the Abomination, so that's kind of cool to have him
Yes,
back.
he's on the cast list. I did.
I'm like,
That's when I realized Abomination from that. Like, I didn't know
yeah,
that was the same. Yeah.
he just kind of sucks, of course. I don't think he can ever turn back into his human form, but I mean, Tim Roth is just an amazing
Oh,
fucking actor.
oh yeah, he's a good actor. Really good actor. Ah, it's good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, we should do like a Quentin Tarantino podcast.
Yes,
Just go,
I'm fucking
oh.
down. I'm fucking down.
I'd have to go watch all of them again just to prepare for it.
I,
I
I'd
fucking
I'd
love
I'd be
Tarantino
down.
movies.
Just a little.
I mean, that's where I first met Tim Roth and Reservoir Dogs. Jesus Christ,
All right,
it's
now
actually a great film.
we could go for the end credit scenes and just wrap it up from there.
All right, you go ahead, take the lead, sir.
Okay.
And then you're the one that knew how many were left. Usually, I pay attention to that stuff too. And I'm like, oh
Oh,
shit.
I knew because I googled it afterward. The credits were
Yeah.
start like after.
Usually, I'll Google it beforehand, but this time I don't know. I just slipped my mind. It's been so long since I've been to a movie theater that it just doesn't feel. Because that was like usually something I did. It was a part of my checklist for a Marvel movie to see if there's any end credit scenes, just to prepare myself, like not to leave or anything like that.
Yeah.
But this time I went in and I'm like, fuck, I forgot to check, and I saw you were checking. Like, hey, I used to do that because I used to watch Marvel movies all the time.
They grew up so
I'd go,
fast.
I fucking watch Endgame and Infinity War like fucking 6, 7 times each. So like, god damn, I was at the movies all the time, just ready for it.
All right, so
Can't even remember what the first one was.
they are
There's two of them, right?
analyzing the Ten Rings in the first one. Uh, they're ancient. They're old. It's the Hulk, Captain Marvel, Wong, Shang-Chi, and then and Aquafina. All five of them in a room, looking through their codex, looking at the. They don't find anything in the codex. Um, Captain Marvel doesn't know any history of this. We've seen the writing on there. Not sure, but it's definitely older than when the Mandarin was first using them. They go way back then. But they kind of analyze the ring and they look deep into it, and it sending out a signal, and it's very ominous. Doesn't tell you where, and it's like both Captain Marvel and the Hulk have to leave the meeting because Captain Marvel gets called away, so she leaves. She's it's funny too. That interaction was fucking hilarious. And then the Hulk was like, "Well, welcome to the team, guys, because this is yeah, get ready for what's gonna happen." That's really where it leaves that, and then they go out there and party. They go out and do karaoke night. So there's that.
Oh yeah,
But
with Wong.
yeah, with Wong. So again, I love seeing Wong. I really do love seeing Wong.
Yeah.
But it does like leave a question to like, cause I don't know anything about uh Shang-Chi, so I'm wondering like, oh my God, this would be who's like, it was Thanos, but who's next? There's a lot of names out there floating around, but I'm very curious, and me not knowing much about the comics, like I can't wait to like hear the rumors of names, like whispers of people's names of like, ooh, it's
Dude,
this
I mean, you even pointed it out looking at the next phase. You're talking about Fantastic Four. I mean, big one there, Galactus. The big one.
Galactus.
What?
You said Kane the Conqueror, and
And
then
from the Loki series, I haven't seen it, but that was my guess, and I guess that guess was kind of right. But I guess they renamed him.
no, you named him like earlier before we were talking here.
No, no, but like they're alluding to that character from Loki being Kang the Conqueror, but his name isn't Kang the Conqueror in the Loki series.
Oh, I'm not sure. I have
I've
to rewatch that,
I've
but
yet to watch it, but like anytime I look it up, like they call him something else, but they're saying it is Kang the Conqueror, so it's like, oh, okay, it's weird.
I mean, even in this one, they didn't really directly name him the Mandarin. So,
True.
but
Yeah.
he's just like they go. I go by many names. I guess that's one of them. But and then you also mentioned someone earlier we wanted to bring back up another big reptile.
Oh, Fing Fang Foom.
Yeah, there we go. Ping Fang Foom. Now is that
So in the comics, as while I was doing a quick read, that's where the rings came from, wherever Fing Fang Foom's from. I don't know if it's another dimension, another planet. I didn't get too deep into it, but the rings come from wherever he's from. So that's why the rings can also allude to another character, which is Fang Fang Foom, which again, it just opens more doors. It's just really exciting.
Well, I'm just very curious to see any more interactions or crossovers to see where he goes into that. And then for the second end credit scene, this is where like don't know who these characters are that are introduced in the movie because Shang-Chi you kind of like okay he's a good guy, but then you have um Xialing, I think that's her name. I forgot her name.
Just say his sister.
His sister Xialing, yeah, Xialing. I'm probably butchering the name now. She's takes she goes back and deals with the Mandarin's empire, and by dealing it, she
Yeah.
turns it into her own empire. And instead of because she was abused, she was neglected because she looked like the mom, and the dad never wanted to see his daughter, and didn't want to train his daughter to fight or to become an assassin or anything like that because she reminded him too much of the mother. So now she had to train herself on the sidelines, watching all these men, and she became better than all of them. And she creates the empire to her own vision. She also allows women to fight and alongside with the men, and just kind of have her. As the camera zooms out of the empire, you see that there's already new advances in technology that they want to do and stuff like that. Like she's done this before. She had her own empire, so she's gonna basically implement her ideas in here. And I don't know if it's for good or for bad.
Yeah, that's where I think they did a pretty good job of just leaving it very obscure and kind of like it can go either way, which kind of again feels like another Loki to me because you don't know what team she could play for.
Because all they do is just show her fighting skills. She can fight, but they do not show her moral or her story that much. We don't know who the murderer of the mom is either. Um, we didn't see they didn't cut to seeing him killing the murderer or confronting that person that killed the mom. We do see the dad killing um people in front of the son, which is insane. Oh, just with the ten rings. I was like, oh my god, these things are insane. But that that just leaves another open door to go through, or not.
Yeah, and we're only assuming it's going to be more for a negative use because when the whole fight finished and they were all kind of deciding what they were going to do, Shang-Chi had mentioned that his sister was going to go back to the Thousand Ring compound and shut everything down. It wasn't said that she was going to take over, that she was going to shut it down, kind of get rid of it.
Yeah,
At the end of the movie, you see her do the exact opposite.
yeah.
She actually takes over. So that's why it's kind of or it can go either way. You don't know how she's going to use this army that was pretty much just left vacant. She just went and took the lead. She went and took the reins per se.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that was for me. Do you want to just recap and then just end it there? Just talk a little bit more about more comments or something you wish to see that they didn't do.
Mm,
'Cause
yeah, sure.
I want to go back to finish it. I want to go back to like what your final review is after because we in part one we did the beginning we did the initial review. I wanted to see your final review, but I think I would like to close it with that. If you have any other comments? Time.
Mm, comments.
All I wish to see was more
I guess
fighting.
my only criticism about it is just the whole Katie thing.
Yeah,
Like it just that made that whole fight scene feel kind of cheap.
yeah.
So everything that would happened around it. I mean, you had the Mandarin dying, finding out that the mom wasn't really back there, and all that other stuff. Kind of feels
I
like
mean,
a big thing Shang-Chi had to go through. And then you'd figure, like, oh, him and this beast are really gonna duke it out now because the beast killed his dad. And his dad finally kind of like gave him some sort of affection by giving up these rings to him. And then one pointy arrow boy just shot that guy in the neck, and that's it. It just feels super cheap. I don't know.
it really just hurt the film, obviously. I still think it was a good movie. I
Yeah,
have,
like if
I, I have the same
everything
gripe.
else in the movie was amazing, that last part just feels like a big letdown, but just the rest of that movie just does so well that it's still a good movie.
Hopefully they learn from that though, or maybe they make her character a little more important. But then again, I don't know anything about her character in the comic. Maybe she
Yeah,
really
not
is.
familiar.
Maybe she is, and we're just being ignorant. Oh, that's cool that she did. Because like people that know her backstory, like, oh yeah, she did something. Like they're probably happy or rooting for her.
Yeah,
Or
true. Yeah,
so that could be something like, oh yeah, yeah, like here's Iron Man, and there's like little baby boy, Peter Parker just throws an
Iron Man
arrow.
Junior.
Yeah, yeah, Iron Man Jr. just go ahead and kill helps out win the fight. Like, and people we would be rooting in the background if we knew the character, right? Like, oh yeah, he's gonna be a great character. Like, I'm glad we're seeing this involvement right now when he's at such a young age. Cause so maybe we come back at this and be like, wow, maybe it looks better. But if they don't do anything with Aquafina, this would look definitely look worse. I'm telling you
No,
now,
yeah, they got to do
they
something.
put themselves there and they gotta do it now.
I don't know. I think she could pull it off. She feels like one of those very infectious characters. I
Yeah,
think she just came off a little too strong.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
I think
But
maybe once she interacts with like maybe other side characters, kind of like how we had
oh
it
yeah,
in Kat Dennings' character, Jimmy Choo's character, like that was fucking hilarious and awesome to see them together in that WandaVision. But I mean, maybe once we get to see that interaction, it makes that universe feel more tightly knit, and it's just really, really nice to see those
yeah,
two.
because even she had good parts. Aquafina in there with just being the awkward one with the family reunion. I thought that was kind of
Yeah,
cool. I was like, oh, interesting. This is she. I feel like she is gonna be a necessary. She wasn't unnecessary basically. Wasn't in not completely unnecessary. She helped. She talked with the sister, got her point across her a little bit of her perspective filled in. There's still blanks, many blanks that we don't know anything about her, but so that kind of pushed the narrative a little bit. And that's what you want to see with the supporting character like you. So how many 10 out of 10 rings, what do you rate this?
I think I'm gonna stick to my answer, the 8.3.
Yeah. I think
Do I recommend to watch this movie? Yes.
oh hell yeah. I'm gonna
I think
move
it's a really, really fun movie to watch.
yeah.
It is a really enjoyable, good time.
I'm gonna move my rating up to 8.5 rings, 10 rings because I want to go back and watch it, and I really want to watch the fight scenes. Honestly, I would rather just watch like the highlights of the fight scenes and just because it's good, it's good, it's real, and then obviously recommend it. That's where my final thoughts are at on. I think
Yeah.
I'm glad we're in complete agreement. I almost felt like I made a bond with you on this.
Oh no. Hey, I wouldn't have minded it been on the opposite side of the spectrum on it. So then there's more of a little argument, conversation, and more points to see. But I mean, this is fine too.
We're gonna talk about other movies too. We're gonna
Oh,
have
you're right.
movie night podcast basically. I guess we could talk. We can yeah. We're gonna be doing more podcasts, right? It's okay to say. It's safe to
Yeah,
say that.
yeah.
I'll cut
I don't
this out
see why
right
not.
now. I swear to God. Just say it. Now we'll do more podcasts, more other stuff. I like nerding out about this stuff, even though I'm not really don't have a deep knowledge of Marvel when it comes to the comics, movie verse. I'm a little interested, so bit of professional there.
Yeah, I kind of just went a little deep, and then I kind of dove back out once I realized how deep I actually
Yeah,
tried to go to.
you're
I
going.
was like, oh god, oh no. Even the DC one, I dove pretty deep into that one too, and into their whole. I kind of need to go back because that one was really good. If you're like looking at comics, DC wins by a mile.
Oh
Holy
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
their stories are fucking incredible.
Hmm.
Like reading some of the comics from Marvel, the only ones that really stood out to me was the one where the Infinity War story or the Infinity Gauntlet story rather, because that one was actually really good and it connected like everything the Marvel cinematic universe is trying to do now. The Infinity Gauntlet storyline did it way back when you had like the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and all them together, and then the other one was the story that it came out not too long ago because people were memeing it like crazy. where it was that Captain America scene, and it was him saying "Hail Hydra," and you kind of found out this entire time from the moment he was frozen to when he was back, and then he was Captain America again. He was actually a Hydra agent from the start. Well, I'm gonna leave it at that because it's its own story.
Yeah.
He actually, but you find out he's a Hydra agent from the start, which is fucking insane. That story itself was fucking amazing too. But then when you go look at DC comic storylines, it's just, oh god, there's this one, there's that one, there's that one, there's that one. There's like so many high stakes stories in the DC comic verse that's just amazing, and I can't wait to see to have like a friendly competition of these cinematic universes actually come to life. Again, I'm excited for like the DC stuff too.
Yeah. There's a lot of movies to come, and I guess we'll talk about more of it later, and of other stuff too, not just the movies and what. We're gonna see what caters, but and then just regular podcasts. But that's been
Yeah,
our movie
again,
review.
my cousin wants to start doing them maybe once a week or so. I really hope we can get more people involved.
Oh, we will.
And
I know Ken for sure would be down. 100%
yeah,
Ken will be down. Marco
what
probably
is
be
it?
down too. But
Kevin will probably be.
we'll name off people, but that you guys don't know yet. But we're just
No,
we're
they should know them. They
we're
should
gonna
know Ken.
we're gonna have a little Marco and
Oh,
haven't
Marco,
seen
yeah.
and Carlos haven't seen much of in a while, so we have our own little Neon Moon universe going on. So stay tuned for those comic books when they come out.
We actually got another podcast tomorrow morning too.
Oh shit, that's right. I can't. Yeah, we're having a podcast tomorrow, so just make sure you tune into that, guys. Am I good? I'm seeing that yours is not refrigerated, so I'm good to not keep mine in the refrigerator.
Were we supposed to refrigerate these?
I was, uh,
What the fuck? Hector told me he had it in a box in the garage.
that doesn't make me feel any better.
I don't think it's supposed to make you feel better, bitch.
I'm gonna buy some. Never mind. I'll tell you later. I'll do it in the podcast tomorrow. All right, I think that's gonna be it for me. Are you good there?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you're tuning along or watching in the future, because as this is uploaded, in for about another hour. Holy crap. Uh,
Bros?
yeah, yeah. This was an hour long. I did not. I looked at it. I'm like,
Uh,
oh, we're
I
12
don't
minutes
have the
in.
time.
We're almost near the end. It's on the YouTube.
No, yeah, mine just says live, fortunately.
But thank you guys for watching. We're gonna do more stuff. We'll be on a podcast tomorrow. Let us know if you guys want to see anything else. All right. Bye.
Shoot.